Remember when she had you in the palm of her hand? When all it took was a message from her at 3 in the morning and you would drop everything to respond? When she canceled plans at the last minute and you swallowed your frustration with a smile, saying that everything was fine? When she left you hanging for hours, or even days, and you stayed there, anxious, checking your phone every 30 seconds, waiting like an abandoned dog waiting for its owner to return? She knew exactly the power she had over you. She felt that constant validation, that inflated ego from having a man completely surrendered at her feet. You were predictable, you were always available, always understanding, always willing to forgive anything. And you know what that did? It completely killed the desire she had for you. Because while you were diminishing yourself to please her, she was losing respect, losing attraction, losing any sense of value for what she had. But then something changed. You woke up. Maybe it was after that last humiliation. That time she disrespected you in front of her friends and laughed when you tried to set a boundary. Maybe it was when you found out that, while you were planning a future with her, she was chatting with other guys behind your back. Or maybe it was simply the accumulation of all the times you gave your all and received crumbs in return. But you woke up. And that's when you made the most powerful decision of your life. You decided to stop giving her what she didn't deserve. You stopped replying in seconds. You stopped canceling your plans for her. You stopped begging for attention. You stopped justifying yourself, explaining yourself, seeking approval. You started treating her with coldness, not for revenge, not for a psychological game, but because you genuinely lost the emotional interest you had for someone who never knew how to value what she received. And it was at that exact moment that her world crumbled. Suddenly, that message she sent expecting an immediate response went unread for hours. That invitation to go out you used to accept with enthusiasm was rejected with a simple, "I'm busy." That unconditional attention she always had vanished completely. And for the first time in her life, she felt firsthand what it's like to desire someone who is no longer emotionally available. Now she wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about you. She checks if you saw her status, if you liked her photo, if you're online. She invents excuses to start a conversation and gets desperate when you respond with monosyllables. She feels a knot in her chest when she realizes that you are perfectly fine without her, and perhaps even better. That control she had, that power she wielded, evaporated. And now it's her who is suffering, who is anxious, who is wondering what she did wrong. Because the truth nobody wants to admit is this: women only value what they are afraid of losing. And when you become emotionally cold, when you stop pursuing, when you demonstrate through your actions that she is no longer a priority in your life, something primitive and deep activates within her. She feels a pain she never imagined feeling. Not the pain of losing someone, but the pain of realizing that she has already lost. And that is exactly what we are going to break down now. I am going to show you what happens in the mind and heart of a woman when you finally stop giving her attention. From now on, you will hear everything the media hides from you. The hidden truth that many fear to speak about openly. Therefore, subscribe to the channel immediately, activate the notification bell, leave your like, and comment from which city you are watching us, so that the algorithm pushes this video to more men who are blind to the reality we show here. It's not enough for you to wake up alone. We need to create a network of conscious and informed men. Now let's get to what really matters. First feeling, she suffers in silence, without admitting how affected she is. She will never come to you and openly say, "I am suffering because you changed with me." Feminine pride simply does not allow that vulnerability, especially when she was the one who treated you badly first, who devalued you, who made you feel small. Admitting that she is suffering would be the same as admitting that she was wrong, that she lost something valuable, that she completely underestimated your worth. And that is unbearable for her ego. So she suffers in silence, carrying that pain as a secret weight that corrodes her from within. During the day, she maintains the mask that everything is fine, posting on social media as if she were living her best life, going out with friends, laughing loudly, trying to convince the world, and mainly herself, that she doesn't care about your coldness. But when she is alone, when night falls and there is no one left to perform for, the mask also falls. It is in those moments that she picks up her phone and rereads your old conversations, looking to understand where everything changed. That's when she opens your social media 10, 15, 20 times a day, checking obsessively every move you make, every photo, every story, trying to decipher if there is any sign that you still think about her. The worst part for her is that no one around her manages to understand what is happening. Her friends notice that she is different, quieter, more distant, but she will never admit the truth. If someone asks her about you, she responds with disdain, saying that she got over him a long time ago, or that she doesn't even remember that. But internally, she is at war with herself. There is a part of her that wants to text you, that wants to break the ice, that wants to create any excuse to resume contact. But there is another part, the part dominated by pride, that does not allow her to show weakness. So she remains trapped in that painful limbo, waiting for you to take the initiative, to seek her out again as you did before, to show that you still care. Only, you don't. And every day that passes without you yielding, without you reaching out, without you showing any need for her, is another day that her silent pain intensifies. It is a suffering that grows exponentially because it has no escape valve, no one to vent to, no way to process it without admitting the defeat that she refuses to accept. And here is what destroys her most internally. She knows she lost the game. She knows that while you were available, while you treated her well, she had all the power. But now that you have emotionally withdrawn, that you have become indifferent, all that power has evaporated. And this inversion of dynamic generates a specific type of psychological suffering that is especially painful for women. The suffering of losing something she thought she would always have available. It's like losing a privilege she considered permanent. Before, she could ignore you whenever she wanted and you would be there waiting. She could treat you badly and you would come back apologizing. She could put you as a second option and you would gratefully accept any crumb of attention. But now she no longer has that luxury. And the deprivation of that power she exercised so comfortably is a torture she carries alone, in silence, unable to share it with anyone, because admitting that suffering would be admitting that you were always more important than she was willing to acknowledge. Second feeling, she gets confused because you act like you no longer care. The confusion she feels is genuinely paralyzing because it completely challenges the narrative she built in her head about the two of you. She was accustomed to a pattern. You cared, you showed it, you were always emotionally invested. Even when she treated you badly, even when she ignored you, even when she disrespected you, you were still there, persistent, trying, striving. That became her comfortable reality, knowing that regardless of what she did, you would always be there as an emotional constant. And suddenly, without prior notice, without discussion, without drama, you simply stopped. You stopped pursuing, you stopped reaching out, you stopped showing any kind of emotional investment. And that completely breaks the mental model she had of you. She cannot process it because, in her head, people don't change so radically. People who love don't just turn off their feelings overnight. So she remains trapped in that torturous confusion, trying to understand what happened, what changed, what she lost. This confusion is even deeper because she cannot accept the most obvious explanation, that you finally woke up and realized you deserved more. In her mind, there must be some other reason. Maybe you are playing a game to get her attention. Maybe you are trying to punish her for something specific she did. Maybe you are testing her to see if she will go after you. She creates 1,000 theories and scenarios in her head because the simple truth, that you genuinely no longer care about her the way you did before, is unacceptable to her. She spends time analyzing every interaction, every short message, every cold response, looking for clues, hidden signs, veiled meanings. Why did he view my story and not react? Why did he respond only with "okay" when he used to write paragraphs? Why did he go out and not invite me when he always included me before? Every small change in your behavior becomes a giant puzzle she obsessively tries to put together, but the pieces never fit in a way that makes sense to her, because she refuses to accept the central piece. You have emotionally moved on. What makes this confusion particularly painful is that she cannot simply confront you directly without exposing her own vulnerability. If she comes and asks, "Why are you acting differently with me?" she is admitting that she noticed, that she cares, that she is affected by your coldness. And that gives you the power that she so fears giving away. So she remains trapped in that psychological predicament where confusion consumes her from within, but she has no way to gain clarity without lowering herself and showing weakness. She tries to send indirect messages, create situations that force you to show interest, do small tests to see if you still react as before. But every failed attempt, every time you remain indifferent, increases her confusion and frustration. It's like trying to solve a mathematical equation where the answer she wants simply doesn't exist, but she keeps trying different formulas, different approaches, hoping that somehow the result will change. Only, it doesn't change. And the more time passes, the more that confusion transforms into silent desperation, because she begins to realize that maybe, just maybe, you really have moved on, and that all the importance she thought she had in your life was sustained solely by your willingness to care, a willingness that now simply no longer exists. Third feeling, she becomes insecure, wondering what she did wrong. The insecurity that arises in her is devastating because it directly attacks the feminine ego at its most vulnerable point, the need to be desired and valued. When you treated her well and she dismissed you or devalued you, she did it from a position of power and confidence. She believed she was too good for you, that you were lucky to be with her, that she was doing you a favor by giving you attention. But now that you have emotionally turned your back on her, all that confidence collapses like a house of cards. She begins to obsessively question herself. What did I do so wrong that made him give up on me? That question eats at her from within because it forces her to do a self-analysis that she always avoided. Suddenly, all those behaviors she justified as independence, strong personality, or not accepting less than I deserve start to look like grotesque mistakes that cost her something valuable. She remembers all the time she ignored you, all the time she treated you like Plan B, all the time she disrespected you in front of others, and now those behaviors gain a weight she never imagined they would have. This insecurity manifests in very specific and observable ways. She starts to change her appearance, to post more sensual photos on social media, to go out more, to show that she is fine and happy, all in a desperate attempt to provoke some reaction from you, to make you notice what you are missing. But when you don't react, when you don't like, don't comment, don't show jealousy or any kind of interest, that insecurity deepens even further. She starts to obsessively compare herself to other women around you, wondering if you are interested in someone, if you replaced her, if you found someone better. Every woman who interacts with you on social media becomes a potential threat in her mind. Every group photo of yours is meticulously analyzed to see if there is any female presence. And the worst, she begins to question her own value as a woman. Am I not pretty enough? Am I not interesting enough? Did he notice flaws in me that I can't see? These questions constantly torment her, especially in the middle of the night when she is alone with her thoughts, because for the first time she is experiencing what you felt when she rejected you. That torturous feeling of not being enough for someone. The cruelest aspect of this insecurity is that she has no one to blame but herself, and that is unbearable. When she broke up with you or treated you badly, she could blame you for being too clingy, too needy, too annoying. She had a ready narrative that justified her actions and protected her ego. But now the narrative is completely flipped. You are not being clingy, you are distant. You are not being needy, you are independent. You are not being annoying, you are indifferent. So, who can she direct the blame toward? Only herself remains. And assuming that responsibility, recognizing that she lost something valuable because of her own attitudes, generates a type of insecurity that eats away at her self-esteem from the inside out. She finds herself constantly checking your profile, ruminating over old conversations, imagining scenarios where she would have acted differently, agonizing with, what if I had valued him when I had the chance? That insecurity becomes a constant and silent companion, a voice in her head that never stops whispering, you messed everything up. You lost someone who genuinely cared. And now, it's too late. And every day that you remain cold and distant is one more painful confirmation that that voice may be right. Fourth feeling, she misses your messages and the way you made her feel important. There is something devastatingly ironic about how she only realized the value of your messages when they stopped arriving. Before, when you sent that good morning every day, when you asked how her day had been, when you showed genuine interest in the details of her life, she treated all that as trivial, as an obligation, as if it were the least you should do. Many times she didn't even respond with emotion, she deliberately left you on read. She responded with monosyllables just to show she wasn't that interested. In her head, you were just another guy desperate for feminine attention, and she could afford to be indifferent because she thought you would always be there, always trying, always reaching out. But now her silence is deafening. The phone that used to constantly ring with your messages now remains silent, and that silence screams how special that constant attention was. She realizes, too late, that you weren't being annoying or clingy. You were being attentive and present. And now that it's over, there is a void in her routine that nothing can fill. What eats at her the most is realizing that no one else makes her feel important the way you did. The other guys she now pays attention to don't ask about the details of her life, don't remember the things she mentioned casually, don't show that genuine and deep interest you had. They send superficial messages, they invite her out without emotionally investing, they disappear for days without explanation. And she finally understands, in a painful and clear way, the difference between a man who genuinely cares and guys who just want something momentary. She remembers how you asked about that important exam she had, how you sent messages of encouragement before a work meeting, how you noticed when she was upset even when she said everything was fine. You truly knew her, you truly paid attention, you truly cared. And now that you are no longer doing any of that, she feels a giant emotional absence that she cannot fill in any way. That kind of genuine and disinterested masculine attention is rare, and she wasted it as if it were common. And there is something particularly cruel in the way that lack manifests in her daily life. It's the small moments that hurt the most, when something good happens in her life and she automatically thinks of telling you, but remembers that you no longer care, when she is upset and reaches for her phone to vent to you, but realizes she no longer has that privilege, when she sees something that would make you laugh and instinctively goes to send it to you, but controls herself because she knows she will receive a cold response or no response at all. She spends time writing messages for you and deleting them before sending, creating ridiculous excuses to start a conversation but giving up out of pride. The worst part is that she cannot simply say, "I miss when you cared," without admitting that she was the one who destroyed that she was the one who treated your care as if it had no value. So she carries that nostalgia in silence, and every day that passes without that attention you gave becomes a painful reminder that she had something precious in her hands and threw it away out of pure pride and stupidity. Now she looks at her phone waiting to see your name on the screen, but only finds silence. And that silence hurts more than any argument, more than any dramatic breakup, because it is the silence of someone who simply stopped caring. Fifth feeling, she feels replaced even by your friends. What truly destroys her internally is realizing that you not only withdrew from her romantically, but that your whole life moved on without including her in absolutely anything. Before, even when you fought or when she treated you badly, you still kept her in your social circle in some way. She was included in outings, in gatherings with friends, in parties, in weekend plans. She felt like a part of your life in a broad way, not just as a romantic interest, but as someone integrated into your world. And that tremendously fed her ego. She felt important, relevant, irreplaceable in your daily life. But now she sees on your social media that you are going out with your friends and she was not invited. She sees photos of barbecues, parties, trips, and realizes that she was not even considered to participate. And that hurts differently, because it's not just romantic rejection, it's complete social rejection. It's you saying, through your actions, that she doesn't even deserve a casual space in your life. That you are perfectly fine creating new memories, new experiences, new moments, and that she simply is no longer part of any of those equations. What makes her particularly insecure is realizing that your friends also stopped interacting with her. Those mutual friends who used to like her photos, who chatted with her, who included her in groups, now simply disappeared. And she perfectly understands what that means. You told your side of the story. They know how she treated you. And contrary to what she imagined, that everyone would be on her side or that no one would care, they chose you. That deeply shakes the narrative she had constructed that you were the problematic one and she was the victim. If your friends are on your side, if they cut contact with her, then clearly the problem was never you. She begins to understand that the people around you saw the reality, that you were the good guy she treated badly, and that she was the problematic person who did not value what she had. That perception is humiliating for her because it is not just you who rejected her. It is an entire group of people who witnessed her behavior and concluded that she doesn't deserve to be there. And there is a particularly painful aspect to this social exclusion. She realizes that you are creating new connections, meeting new people, building new social circles, and she has absolutely no access to that. Before, even from a distance, she still had that sense of closeness because she was integrated into your friendships. She knew the important people in your life, participated in the events, had that feeling of belonging. Now she is a complete stranger in your universe. You have new friends she doesn't even know. You frequent places where she is not welcome. You built a whole social life where she simply doesn't exist. And that generates in her a sense of loss much greater than just losing you romantically. She lost a whole lifestyle, a whole social group, a whole network of connections that made her feel valued and included. Worse still, she sees that you are not suffering from this social separation. You are not isolated, sad, without friends. On the contrary, you seem happier, more connected, more socially integrated than ever. And that makes her understand in a brutal way that she was dispensable in every sense. That your life not only continued without her, your life improved without her. And that is an impossible pill to swallow. Sixth feeling, she starts to question if you still think about her. That question becomes an obsession that consumes her at all times of the day. She spends time imagining, does he still think about me when he sees something I liked? Does he remember our time together? Does he cross his mind when he is alone? And what tortures her the most is that all the evidence points to an answer she refuses to accept. Probably not. You go about your life with a normalcy that leaves her desperate. You don't send nostalgic messages, you don't like old photos, you don't show any sign that she occupies any mental space in your life. And that is devastating for her because when she dismissed you or treated you badly, she always operated from the premise that you would continue thinking about her, desiring her, wanting her. It was comforting to know that even treating you badly, you still valued her. But now that certainty has completely evaporated, and she is lost in a sea of doubts about whether she still has any relevance in your life or if you have completely forgotten her and truly moved on. What amplifies this insecurity is the brutal contrast between how you act now and how you acted before. Before, she knew you thought about her constantly. You demonstrated it through unexpected messages, small gestures, constant attention. She never had to wonder if she occupied your mind because it was obvious that she did. And even when she ignored you or rejected you, there was a sadistic comfort in knowing that you were still there, thinking about her, wanting her, waiting for her. But now you are a complete blank slate. You don't give any signs. You don't leave any clues. You don't offer any guarantee that she still matters to you minimally. And that ambiguity is torturous because the human mind naturally seeks answers, seeks patterns, seeks some form of certainty. But you offer nothing. You are a complete mystery. And the more she tries to decipher whether you think about her or not, the more that uncertainty consumes her. Because every day without a sign from you is one more indication that maybe you really erased her completely from your emotional life. That issue becomes particularly distressing at night, when she is alone with her thoughts. It is during those hours that she creates scenarios in her head. When he hears that song we used to listen to together, does he remember me? When he passes by the place we used to go, does he feel something? She desperately wants to believe yes, that somehow she left an indelible mark on your life, that you cannot simply erase her from your memory as if she never existed. But the cold reality is that you seem to have done exactly that. You don't show nostalgia, you don't show that you miss her, you don't show absolutely anything that indicates she occupies any space in your mind. And that makes her feel something worse than rejection. It makes her feel insignificant. Because being rejected but still knowing that you think about her would be painful, but at least it would confirm that she had some impact. But the possibility that you simply no longer think about her, that she became irrelevant to the point of not even deserving an occasional thought, is absolutely destructive to her ego. It's as if the entire history of the two of you was erased from your memory, and she became just one more person who passed through your life and was forgotten without a trace. And that possibility of being completely forgettable is the psychological nightmare that keeps her awake in the middle of the night. Seventh feeling. She feels rage because you do not show suffering. The rage that grows within her is visceral and contradictory, because at its core, she is furious with your peace. She expected, no, she needed you to be suffering as much as she is suffering now. In her head, when she dismissed you or treated you badly, you should have been devastated, desolate, spending months or years in depression, incapable of moving on. That suffering would be the validation she sought, that she was important, that she meant something, that she caused a real impact on your life. But you are not giving her that satisfaction. You are not posting sad indirect messages, you are not listening to melancholic music, you don't look dejected in photos. On the contrary, you seem to be at your best. You are smiling in photos, going out with friends, living a full and happy life. And that leaves her absolutely furious because it exposes a truth she doesn't want to accept. You are not suffering because you truly moved on. You are not faking being strong, you are genuinely fine. And that realization is a slap in the face of her ego. This rage manifests in very specific and revealing ways. She starts to speak ill of you to her friends, creating narratives where you are the villain, where you are the insensitive one, where you never truly cared. She needs that narrative to justify her own rage, because admitting the truth, that you simply healed and moved on while she remained trapped in the past, would be acknowledging that she lost something valuable. So she transforms you into the monster you never were. He never truly loved me. If he loved me, he would be suffering. She completely ignores that she was the one who destroyed the relationship, that she was the one who devalued you, that she was the one who treated you like trash. In her narrative, the fact that you are not suffering is proof of a character flaw, not proof of strength and emotional maturity. And when her friends try to point out the reality, that she was the one who treated you badly and that you have every right to be well, she gets even more irritated because she doesn't want to hear the truth. She wants validation for the rage she feels, even if that rage is completely irrational and unfair. The most revealing aspect of this rage is that it exposes how much she wanted to have power over your emotions. She wanted to be so important that you would be destroyed without her. She wanted your life to fall apart, for you to beg her to come back, for you to show that you could never be happy without her presence. That would be the ultimate validation of her worth, to be so irreplaceable that your absence would completely ruin you. But you took that power away from her. You showed that you can not only live without her, but you can thrive without her. That you are stronger, more resilient, more emotionally mature than she ever imagined. And that infuriates her because it completely destroys the narrative of superiority she had built. In her head, she was the prize, you were the lucky one. She was the one who commanded, you were the one who obeyed. She had the power, you had the need. But now that dynamic is completely inverted, and you are proving through your actions that you never needed her as much as she needs you now. And this inversion of power, this loss of control over your emotions, generates a rage in her that is proportional to how much she overestimated her own value and underestimated yours. It is the rage of someone who lost a game she was sure she was going to win. Eighth feeling. She gets irritated upon realizing the game has changed. The irritation that invades her is different from rage. It is more subtle, more constant, more corrosive. It is that permanent sense of frustration upon realizing that the rules of the game have completely changed and she no longer holds the cards. Before, she dictated the pace of the relationship. She decided when you talked, when you saw each other, how much attention she would give you. She had complete control of the dynamic because you were always available, always waiting, always willing to accept the crumbs she threw at you. That gave her a sense of power that she loved to exercise. At any time she could pull you back or push you away, and you reacted exactly as she expected. But now you are no longer playing by her rules. You are no longer emotionally available. You don't react to her provocations. You don't show jealousy when she tries to needle you. And that deeply irritates her because she has completely lost control of the situation. It's like sitting at a poker table where she has always won and suddenly realizing that her opponent has completely changed strategy and now she is losing hand after hand without understanding how the game changed. This irritation intensifies every time she tries to use the old tactics and realizes that they simply no longer work. Does she post a sensual photo you don't like or comment? Does she send a message opening the door to conversation? You respond with polite coldness. Does she try to create jealousy by talking about other guys? You show total indifference. Every frustrated attempt to regain the control she had over you increases her irritation, because she finds herself in the humiliating position of trying to get the attention of someone who is simply not interested. She has become exactly what you were when you were running after her. The person who seeks, who tries, who needs the other person's validation. And that is unbearably irritating to her because it exposes a vulnerability that she always judged as a weakness in others. She used to look at the men who ran after her with disdain, thinking, how pathetic, so desperate for attention. But now she sees herself doing the exact same thing, and the hypocrisy of this situation irritates her as much as the very denial. What fuels this irritation the most is the realization that you did not change the game out of strategy or manipulation. You changed it because you genuinely changed. If you were faking disinterest as a psychological game to make her chase, she would have some hope that eventually you would yield, that it was all an act that would eventually drop. But the reality is much worse. You are not pretending. You genuinely no longer care in the way you cared before. You really moved on emotionally. And that removes any possibility of her regaining control because there is no game to be played. You simply walked away from the table. This realization generates a deep existential irritation because it makes her understand that all the power she had over you was not real. It was only you choosing to give that power to her. And the moment you chose to stop giving it, the power instantly evaporated. She realizes, irritatingly and clearly, that she never had real control over you. She only had your temporary permission. If this video made sense to you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and comment, gratitude. This helps the algorithm spread this message to other men who need to know the teachings of our channel. Every interaction strengthens this mission to open eyes and rescue masculine self-esteem. Thank you for being here. Continue following us, because every week we bring reflections and tools to help you regain emotional control and become your best version. A big hug, and until the next video.